So let me get the chat open before I get going. Hold on. Gotta remember the priorities here. Okay. So it's lunchtime for me. I don't know if it's lunchtime where you're at, wherever you are watching this. But I've been hopping on live streams actually quite frequently in the last week or so. And so I thought, to kind of formally title these little breaks if they have no relation to the other series. So, you know, on my lunch breaks or when I take a break from work, I'm just going to be titling them Lunch with Laura if they have no relation to any series. This here, you guys voted yesterday for the Disney Colorathon page, so I went ahead last night after work was over and just applied the page to my canvas, and I recorded it all in time lapse, so I'll put up a video later, but I kind of just wanted to do a little painting on screen with you before. Oh, hi Daria, that's great. Yeah, chat on. I just sort of wanted to play around more with the paint today, and I thought, why not do a live stream? So yeah. Hi, Kate. Hi. So this is from the Disney. Let me grab the book. Hold on. Should have got that. So this page here is from the Disney Dreams collection. This is the Thomas Kinkade book, and I scanned this page here, and I just made it slightly bigger so it would fit this canvas. And then, yeah, I just matte mediumed the paper right onto it. And then I just started painting with acrylic. Good morning, Marsha and Shannon. Hey, ladies. All right. So this is a really rough, I just kind of was just throwing paint on there. And if you look at Kinkade's version, it's a very beautiful painting. But then I started looking at the actual movie. Like I took some screenshots of the movie, and I realized that his colors were a lot less vibrant and just more muted, more, I guess, his own style. But I love, when I watched the movie, I remember it was like so beautiful and vibrant, and so I love that that color palette a little bit more. So I'm going with a, I'm not really looking at Kinkade, I'm just looking at some screenshots from the movie. I mean, I couldn't find anything exactly like this scene, but so the one I showed you I think is the one I'm going to be referencing the most. But I just wanted to show you guys that, like, even though they have in the Disney book, even though they have pictures next to the page, you don't have to follow that. That's like just a suggestion. So, thanks, Kate. Yeah, I mean, this is just a rough, quick first layer. Now we're gonna dive right in. So I have here an old paper plate that I use. I recycle a lot of my old stuff. And I just have a set of old brushes. These are old synthetic Princeton art brushes, and I have excuse me, I have a range of sizes. Let me take a drink. So I just use these guys for my fun little acrylic paintings. You can see I bought them. I like to put the date that I bought them on the ferrule just so I know how long my brushes last. So this one I bought in 2008. Yay! Hi, Rebel. Let's see. So if you guys have any questions for me, just put them in all caps. But I just figured we'll just do a little relaxing, fun, little, you know, no pressure art today. So this is for the Disney Colorathon page, and I just want to get a head start because this page, I'm not going to be able to finish it in one stream. almost running out, but I have more. I have another tube, don't worry guys. I just squeeze all the paint out of them until they're totally done. Okay, and then I think I was using this one. Yeah. So the three colors I've been using, ultramarine blue from Liquitex. It's the red shade. Here, I'll bring it up close so you guys can read it. So this is a translucent color. I like that Liquitex puts that right on the bottle. Or the tube, rather. And then I'm using Liquitex Heavy Body Titanium White. Don't worry, I have another tube of this. It's ready to go. And then this color was actually just a random discount color I got a long time ago. I can't believe it's still actually not dried out. I mean, this is at least a 15-year-old tube of paint. I never use this color, but I think for this particular painting it will actually really look. Kate, no, I'm gonna just, for this particular thing, I thought it'd be fun. I haven't done an acrylic painting in a while. Thought it would just be fun just to do something different. I'm doing a lot of different pencils and watercolors and stuff on my channel, so, but yeah, then the other color I've been using is this one here. And I'll throw other colors in later. Now this one is hard to open, so I use this little, it's like a little kitchen, like a jar opener. Oh my gosh, works awesome. Hi Emily. Alright, we've got people coming in. I'm always surprised when that happens. This is a really nice color for mixing purple. Alright. Hi, Zeely. Yeah, I saw that Sky isn't recording. She's not. Oh, here's the paper towel. I saw that she wasn't streaming, so I was like, well, on my lunch break, that's what I'm gonna do. And then I have this little spray bottle. So this is a huge trick. Okay, paint is expensive, and a lot of people are afraid to put down a lot of paint on their palette because they're concerned that they're going to waste it. But then what ends up happening is you don't use a lot of paint because you're not putting a lot of paint on your palette. So to avoid that whole problem, you can extend the life of your acrylics by using a spray bottle. It's really simple. So I just mist the paint until there's like a coating of water over it. There's like water droplets on the palette. And then that will keep it from forming that skin over the paint. And so all you have to do to maintain this, I can keep a palette wet for up to 8 hours. I've actually gone longer than that, but at that point it starts to get crusty. I can keep a palette wet for a whole day's worth of session just by making sure to maintain my palette by keeping it moist. So what you'll see when the water evaporates, and right now it's warm in my apartment, so it's going to happen pretty quick. When the water evaporates, I'll just keep respraying it. So you'll see me do it at least a couple times in this video. Kate, you know, actually acrylic paint was my first love. Actually oil paint was my first love, but I grew an allergy to oil paint. I was using it without wearing gloves or a respirator, and over time I developed a lot of chemical sensitivities to it, especially to the linseed oil, because I would be like finger painting with it. I was a little kid, you know, oil painting. Somebody gave me a cheap oil paint set for Christmas one year, and I was like 8 years old or whatever, and I was oil painting with it, and my mom told me to be careful and to paint outside, but you know, kids, they don't listen, you know. So I was just you know, I was just overexposed to it basically. So right now, just to kind of warm up, I just want to kind of fix a couple of things that so yeah, anyway, I ended up not being able to use oil paint anymore. It's just like I need like an EpiPen near me if I'm gonna do it. It's just too much stress. So I switched to acrylic painting about 15 years ago when that happened, and then I've just been painting with acrylic ever since. So I was not a pencil artist. I didn't know how to draw line art. For like the past couple of years, I've really been pushing myself to learn dry media because, you know, that's what people are using in their coloring books. So acrylic is really actually my favorite, just because you can do so many techniques with acrylic paint that you just cannot do with pencil. It's a lot quicker and more loose. That's sort of been my jam for a long, long time. So I don't do it a whole lot because I know that it's kind of, you know, it's not really like a coloring book medium. Like, I mean, you could use it in your books, obviously, but it's not really, the books aren't really meant for that. Excuse my voice. So, yeah. Oh, I'm missing the chat. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling away. Um, Hi, Jopa. Hi, Connie. And let's see who else. I think I got everybody. Oh, I'm on Top Chat. Who's on Top Chat party, guys? Top Chat. Swap that Top Chat. Okay. Let's have a drink of water, too. Okay, I think Top Chat's the same as Live Chat, but let's just make sure. I think I got everybody. All right, so I hope that answers your question. At this point now, I love so many different media. I mean, I've tried everything that I can get my hands on. I have, like, for example, I've done encaustic wax painting. I have an airbrush. You know, I do, I've done like batiks, and I sew. I do a lot of crafts. I do sculptures, like I do steampunk sculptures and things. So I do a lot of different things. I get bored and I want to, you know, change it up a lot. So instead of like, yeah, I don't know, instead of like changing my like hobby when I get bored of something, I just change my medium, and then all of a sudden I'm stuck with a new challenge, and it's really, really fun. So, yeah, I don't know. I consider myself a mixed media artist. Like lately I've been doing a lot of watercolor and pencil mixed media pieces for my own personal work, and I just love it. I don't know why, but I just like I never really used watercolor a whole lot, and now I'm using it all the time because I'm teaching a class. So of course, you know, if you're teaching somebody, you have to be good at it yourself. So I've been really practicing. Yeah, it's just been kind of a wild ride. When I found coloring, I was like, ooh, new things to try. So it's been a really experimental journey for me, and learning pencils, it had a huge learning curve. Like when I first started, I was really frustrated with how slow they are and how you couldn't like put light over dark. You know, so I was really struggling for a long time with the whole concept of like layering in the way that I do. But once I got the hang of it, I found it to be so relaxing. So, hi Pat! Hey everybody! Yeah, kind of creative ADD. But the thing is like, I always come back to stuff, so I never get rid of my supplies, because like, I just know it's the cycle will start again. So that's why sometimes I take a break from coloring line art. I don't want to get bored of it, so instead of like pushing myself to the point where I'm bored of it, I just take breaks here and there. I color, I do my own personal work, so that way I'm kind of keeping it all fresh and fun, and keep myself engaged in the whole process. But that's why, like, if you guys see me take a small break here and there, I'm not gone forever. I just had a little diversion somewhere else, and I'm enjoying that. So, but it's funny because I always come back to stuff, so it's no big deal. Don't worry. I did that this summer where I just stopped coloring and drawing coloring pages, but look at me now. I'm streaming all the time. um, you had the same issue, Joba? Oh, Bethan. Oh, honey, don't, you know, migraines always hurt worse when you're looking at screens. So please go rest. You know, don't worry about that. This will be here for you. Please do not hurt yourself over my streams ever, ever. And don't apologize either, because we're just here for fun, guys. This is not a job. We're not being paid to do this. You know, this is just what we do when we want to. So please do not feel sorry one bit. Go lay down, close your eyes, relax. Do not hurt yourself. No, Kate. So I have trained my cat. She's actually sitting right down here on the floor right next to me. As soon as I get out my paintbrushes and my water cup, these long brushes, she knows that she's not allowed on my desk. I will spray her with my water bottle if she does it, but she hasn't done it in a long time. She's a really old cat, so she knows the drill by now. But no, I've trained her not to get on my art table when the brushes come out. She's allowed on the table with the pencils, but when the brushes come out, there's no... she's not allowed. And I did that, I know it sounds cruel, but I did that because I didn't want to be cleaning paint off her fur. She hates water and baths. And so, you know, I just thought spraying her with a spray bottle is a humane, you know, it doesn't hurt her any, she just doesn't like it. It's just a humane way to train her not to do that, because I don't want to be, I want to be able to leave my stuff out and not stress about her getting up here. So I did that for several things, like my encaustic wax paint is the same way. I don't know how to get wax out of fur. I don't want to try, so I just, again, trained her. As soon as I get out the hot plate and the wax and all that, she's not allowed anywhere near it. But she's really good. She just sits right beside me and hangs out. She, you know, when I sit on the couch and paint at the easel, she comes and sits in my lap, and that's fine. I think you can see that actually in a couple of my old Instagram videos where I'm painting in acrylic. Yeah, she'll come and sit on my lap if I'm sitting at the couch, but if I'm here at my desk, she's not allowed up. Okay. Yeah, it's just that once the acrylic paint dries, it's plastic, and it's, I mean, at that point you gotta just cut it out of their fur. So it's just, I don't know, I don't want that headache, honestly. Abby is allergic to so many things. I feel like paint chemicals on her is just like a bad idea. Jo Beth. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, I didn't know you had cancer, Jo Beth. Yeah, I mean, if you're painting with oil paint, make sure you wear gloves, you are outside or in an extremely well ventilated area, and wear a respirator. There's a lot of dangers with acrylic paint that nobody really talks about. I mean, not acrylic, oil paint. Acrylic is a lot safer, but I don't finger paint like I used to. You know, when I was a kid, I would just finger paint and all that. Now I try not to touch. I mean, you know, I get some paint on me. It's kind of impossible if you're not wearing gloves, but I don't like wearing gloves, so I just didn't want to oil paint anymore. I know that sounds really stupid of a reason, but yeah, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to risk my health over something like that. I figured acrylic is a lot more difficult to do because it dries darker and oil doesn't, but yeah, I just didn't feel like risking my health over it either. I'm glad you're taking care of yourself, Jo Beth. That's awesome. I'm glad you're cancer free. Yeah, Daria, I can definitely do some encaustic wax painting on the channel. I haven't done that in a long time, and I was thinking about doing it. I have a huge set of encaustic wax, and I have my hot plate and all my old brushes and all that, but I haven't done it in years, so it would be kind of fun, I think, to just like play around with that on my channel with you guys and sort of like remember how to do it. I thought that would be kind of fun. So that is maybe a lunchtime with Laura exercise, but I'm going to do that in the fall when it's a lot less hot, because that requires a hot plate and it is so warm of an exercise. And you guys know by now I just, my apartment is too warm for that. So I'm going to wait until the fall when the weather cools off. Hopefully the weather will cool off, and then I can do that with you. Yeah, I've been thinking about it though. I think it would be fun to sort of just like explore. Like I was thinking about doing another acrylic crayon video. So just sort of exploring different media on my channel with you guys. That way you can kind of come along for the ride with me. So I don't know what half this stuff is, but I don't, you know, I'm not really, I'm like, I painted over a lot of the details, so I'm not really fussing about exactly what's what anymore. I'm just sort of making it up. But yeah, when I painted over the background last night, I did try to keep the outlines of the figures, and so at least that'll be accurate to the book, but yeah, I don't know what I'm doing as far as the background. I'm just sort of winging it. Like, I think there was supposed to be, like, I don't know, more, I don't know. Wait, let's look at the book again. I thought there's a lot of lines up there, and I was like, I don't know what this is. Oh, it's like mist. Okay. Yeah, I didn't do that. Okay. I mean, I just did clouds, but that's fine. Let's see. Oh, you're welcome, JoBeth. Kate, so encaustic wax painting, oh my gosh, so much fun. I don't have any of mine out. I gave a lot of them away. Actually, I had a lady about 10 years ago who hired me to do encaustic wax paintings throughout her whole house. So basically I think it was like 23 wax paintings, and they were all landscapes. And they're still in her house. It's like a little art gallery of my work now over there. That was really fun. So what it is it's blocks of wax with pigment in it, and they kind of look like pastels, but they're waxy. It's basically beeswax and damar varnish, and there's another wax. I can't remember which. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm just gonna say I can't remember what it is. But I'll go through all that, all the supplies and stuff when we do the actual video. I think I'm gonna make this like another pitched roof. There we go. So yeah, basically what you do is you heat up the wax on a hot plate, like, you know, like those old pancake griddles, those hot plates that you can buy for pretty cheap. That's what I use, and you have to set it to a certain temperature so that the wax doesn't burn. And then and it's a fairly low temperature, but it's still warm. And then so when you heat up the wax, it's melty. Like, have you ever like seen like the melted wax from a candle? So then you can pick up that melted wax with your brush and paint with it. And what it does is it creates like instant texture. It like builds. It's so cool. I'll have to do that on the channel, because there's a lot of really fun, easy techniques that you can do with that. It's a very, very old, it's actually one of the most ancient types of paint. They used to use it for boats, actually. So if you think about wax, it resists water, and it's actually an excellent preservative. When they, like the old Viking ships, when they would go to paint those, they would use this encaustic wax. And it's funny because like the Egyptians used it and all that. So it's a very, very old form of painting. But I just love the way it feels. It's totally different from anything else. Yeah, so I'll definitely have to do that on the channel, because I don't think a whole lot of people are doing it, and it's a really, really fun medium. Whenever I pull it out, I don't know why I haven't done it in a long time, but whenever I pull it out, it's always like Ooh. So I'll dig that out of my, I think it's in my closet. Because, you know, my closet in my bedroom is not filled with clothes, guys. It's filled with art stuff. I have a little spot for my clothing. Yeah. But anyway, I'll definitely have to pull that out. Yeah, Kate, I'll definitely do that. I'll do that this fall. Hopefully in September, but maybe October. It depends on when it starts to cool down and not be like 100 degrees Fahrenheit in my apartment. Uh, so yeah, this isn't really a tutorial, this video. I can do acrylic painting tutorials, but I just wanted to get this page ready for my Disney Colorathon, so I'm kind of like pushing through and trying to get it done. What I want to do is I think I just want to leave the figures for the colorathons. That way you guys see how I paint those guys, and just do the background off camera. When I do it off camera, I'm still recording it in time-lapse mode on my camera, so on my cell phone. So I'm gonna post those. I'll just do a quick time-lapse video of anything I do off of live stream for you guys. So that way you can still see sort of my process and how I did it. Christina, for which video? I always stream on Tuesday mornings, and right now we're doing the Magical Mermaid series on Tuesdays. But every other streaming time is just, I don't know when I can. Oh, the Disney Colorathon. Let me post the link. We have a spreadsheet already set up with the times. So instead of me trying to figure out your time zone and do all this, let me just link you right here to everybody. Boom. That way you can see everybody. Okay. Because it's going to be really fun, I think. We're going to have a great time. Yeah, let's see. I want more lights in the sky, but I kind of want to make sure that the sky is finished first. Let's switch to a slightly bigger brush. You got it, guys. I'm not sure, Kate, who started it. I was just invited when I did the other colorathon recently. I was invited to do that Disney colorathon, and I just had so much fun. That was my first colorathon the last time, and I had a great time. So I figured Disney, I mean, I grew up like absolutely obsessed with Disney, so why not? So I'm just sort of like loose right now. Like I painted over all those little lights, and I put some new ones in just to indicate maybe where, but I want to make them yellowy like the reference photo. Here, I'll show you guys again. So this is what I'm looking at here. So you can see like there's like this pretty purpley blue in the background and some pinks. So I'm applying that. Oh, I'm sorry. I just took you for a ride. I'm applying that to the background in my own way, of course. I'm not really directly copying anything. Then I do want to add yellow to these lanterns. But for right now, I'm just kind of blobbing stuff. So I find it's easier just to work with a limited palette. So I'm just using white to indicate where I think the lanterns might go. But that can change really easily because I haven't thrown any yellow in yet. But once I start painting the yellow in, then it's going to be a lot harder to change them. So I just want to make sure that the paint is thick and then completely covering the canvas the way I want it to. Hold on, chat in a second. And I don't think I said it yet, but thank you everybody for coming and spending your time with me. I love doing these. I'm like, I've been doing them a lot lately, and I'm just starting to feel more comfortable doing live streams. So thank you guys for bearing with me and, um, you know, encouraging me and stuff. It really means a lot. The other YouTubers can tell you it's like kind of scary at first, but then once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. Let's just paint over those guys. I kind of want to lighten this up a little bit, but not too much. But it dries 1 to 2 shades darker, so you have to imagine how it'll look dry. It's kind of tricky, but once you get the hang of acrylic, it's really, really, really fun. Okay, chat. Let's see. Ah, okay. That's good to know, Beth Ann. I missed the Harry Potter streamathon, but I would have loved to do that too. Shannon. Oh yeah, we had a top chat party going on. That's good. So yeah. Yep, so coloring with Vicky's the one that started it, and see, my paint's starting to get a little sticky. That's the time to spray it. Okay. There we go. Keep everything moving. Moving and shaking, guys. Moving and shaking. So I want this to feel really loose and sort of impressionist. That is one thing I really like about Thomas Kinkade's work, is how he doesn't feel the need to detail everything. So I'm going to try to capture a similar sort of feel in the background, but then, you know, just using my own colors, basically. Alright, so now I want to put more of that. So whatever I do to the sky, I like to do the water, because the water will reflect the colors. So I'm just going to go in. And that's how I that's how I did it last night. Another drink of water. I'm talking too much today. Let's see. Oh, thanks, guys. It's a pleasure for me, too. I love you guys. You're so great. Gonna make me cry. Okay. So let's see here. So that's what I was doing last night. I would put something up above the water, and then I would just work below. So that's how you can see how I did. I was starting to do that kind of stuff. So, but with the water, I do only horizontal strokes, and it just works out really well. So like when we put yellow in the lanterns, I'm going to put yellow in the water. So anything you do above, remember to do below, and then it'll look just like a real reflection. It's so fun. Let's see. Okay, good. Nothing new. Alright. So now I do want to add a little more dark. This is the ultramarine. I do want to add a little more right in here, since I was adding more earlier. So yeah, this brush is from 2011. I don't know why I like writing the date that I bought it, except that it's kind of cool to know like how long I can make them last. Like this one's starting to fray a little bit. For a synthetic brush, I think it's holding up pretty well. Meredith. That's okay. No worries, honey. Thank you for coming. Oh, Kate, I just have a lot of years. I can do some beginner acrylic tutorials, but I'm going to focus on the watercolor series first. Let's get that kind of sorted out, and then I can do a new tutorial and new media. So I'm going to make these trees back here, but I'm going to just sort of base them with blue, and that's actually something I like to do, which I'm not doing super well here. I like to paint on the edges as well, just that way when, like, it doesn't have to be exactly, oh sorry, long brush. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but I like continuing the look. Let's make sure it's okay over here. I didn't do a very good job of this last night, so let's just fix that. I don't know why I do this, but with my acrylic on canvas, I always tend to paint the edges. Oh, good, Kate. Yeah, so like you can see, the watercolor class that I just did is not super advanced at all. I think it's okay for someone who's never even tried it before. But yeah. So you guys can see I'm only using these 3 colors still. Really, really fun. Let's see here. I'm just pinching and looking at, trying to see if there's any, no. There's no bridge in the background of the other one. That's okay though. I want to put some details behind the bridge just so it looks like there's something back there, like other little, I don't know, like maybe a little piece of ground or something. Let's see here. Maybe this needs to be, that's too light. I'm just talking out loud, man. There we go. So now I'm just making up pretend. I know there's nothing back there, but I want this like little cityscape to feel like it continues back behind the bridge here. So I'm just kind of indicating. Let me just paint over that. Those lanterns are bothering me. And the great thing with acrylic is you can just paint over everything. So let's just give an indication that there's something back there, but it doesn't have to be really detailed or anything. Let's put some more light color. Just to kind of give it the impression that there's something there. Let's use this for the underside of the bridge. So I am trying to follow the bridge because I really liked that about the painting, even though I don't really see it in the movie screenshots that well, but I liked the bridge. So let's keep it, because it doesn't have to be exactly like the movie anyway, right? Let's see. Hi, Michelle. Who else just popped in? Hi, Rochelle. Michelle and Rochelle. Okay. Oh, too many meetings. Yeah, I've had a rough morning too. I could barely even, like, sometimes I watch people's streams as I'm working. I could not do that this morning. It was, and I have a feeling this afternoon is going to be the same way. That's okay though. I was like, I'll do lunch with Laura, and that way, at least I can see my YouTube buddies somehow. Alright, so I think I want to do the bridge like a lighter blue. Maybe dark blue. Let me think about this here. Because the town I have dark. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Think about this here. I'm going to put some... What am I going to do here? So, this is too much of a big blob here, so I'm going to put some more random rooftops. And these aren't really, like, I'm not worrying about perspective or anything like that. These are just shapes. Just different shapes. Um, oh, Rebel. I want to see your puppy. Did you post it somewhere? I missed it. I'm sorry I haven't been around this morning at all. But that's cute. I'm glad that you're snuggled with the puppy. It sounds so cute. Okay. Oh, I'm starting to dry out. Spray. Okay. So this is fun. I'm just sort of like playing around with the background and sort of just doing my own thing at this point. So let's see. It's like the base of the mountain. So that would be in shadow. And then this looks like it should be some trees back here. Let's just do that. Yeah. Sometimes I get really frustrated with the lanterns and I just paint right through them and then I'll paint them back in. Let's see, I need some contrast there, so let's put some lighter blue. Let's see. Oh, I kind of want that to glow though, so hold on, let's think about this. Let's see here. Oh, I'll have to check it out. I missed that. I'm sorry. I just love people's fur babies. I don't know why. Probably because I love my own so well. Let's see, this looks like it could be a little... Let's just put some blobs to indicate buildings. Blob here. Let's blob it up right here. This feels too dark and weird. Okay. Okay, I like that better. Now it feels like the town is kind of going back behind the bridge more. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Mm-hmm. And let's paint the bridge. I know in the Kinkade version he had it lighter, but I'm kind of feeling, I don't know, let's see how this looks. And I'm just, again, trying not to get too fussy with the detail. I'm just going to paint right through all that. Okay. So it does not have to be perfect. I'm not worried about perfection. It won't look impressionist if we get real fussy. Let's see. So thank you, who all voted for this page. Thank you so much, because it is so much fun. I'm having a great time. Like when I started it last night, I'm like, oh yeah. So this is going to be great. Okay, so let's just do the basic structure. It's going to look messy here for a second. That's fine. Too much water though. So when you water it down, it becomes almost like watercolor where it's transparent, which is useful in coloring books if you're trying to see the lines. That's a quick tip for you. Acrylic is really, really versatile. It does a lot of really neat things. And don't be afraid to make it look messy just to get it to where it needs to be, because sometimes that's the only way to do it. Get a little messy. Okay, so I have to watch his head. Let's go from the head up. And people ask me all the time why don't I use a smaller brush, but I feel like, especially because acrylic dries so quickly and I want to work wet and wet, that this is actually the best way to ensure that the paint doesn't dry on you before you're ready. So then I'll go back in later and do some nicer details if I need to. But using a big brush is very doable if you know how. And that just takes a lot of years of practice, at least for me. Okay, so this little lantern here, I'm going to go right through that too, but my paint is really transparent now. So I'll be able to see it enough to at least get a close approximation to what the book has. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, so Pat, when you're first starting, just water them down a little more, and then you can, I don't know if you guys can see, but here, I just did it here. So you can see right through the paint, right here, the line still. So if you water it down enough, it works like watercolor. And you can see I did that with the boat too, where I just watered it down. And then when you get the base colors down, then you can kind of like go back in and add more opaque paint on top of it. So it's a really fun way to kind of, like, that's what I was doing with the sky earlier. I had done just the light wash coats, but then I was going back through and adding more opaque paint at the end. So that way it doesn't feel too, like, I don't know, I don't like that look as a final result, but it's useful just to get the base layer down. So just use a lot of water, and here's how it looks on my palette. It's like watery, really transparent. And sorry, I use my palettes until they're like piled up with paint, so that's like 5 paintings right there. So So let's do another layer right over here. So I may lose some of the detail that the book has when I do this, but we can always look at the book again. Let's just continue that. Over there. Yeah, I don't want the bridge to stand out too much. I think I'm gonna wait for that to dry and see what color that turns out to be, but I think it might be alright. Let's keep working more on the city, but I want to switch to a smaller brush now. So let's go. Make sure to clean your brushes off really well. No, Rebel. What I did is I scanned the book, because you can see down here, it's exactly like the book. So I scanned the book, I printed it out on cheap paper, and matte medium the paper right to the canvas. Done. So you can kind of see the seam here. See that? But I'll paint that with thick paint and cover it over, and you won't ever, like over here, you can kind of see where I started doing that. You won't be able to tell that there's a piece of paper on there. Works pretty great. And I did actually do a tutorial on how to do that on like a long time ago. Thanks. Do I prefer watercolor or acrylics? Michelle, honestly, I love them both for different reasons. I am truly a mixed media artist. I like watercolor for the transparency and how they interact with each other. That's very different from acrylic. But I love acrylic for the ability to layer light over dark and dark over light, and to play around with the buildup of texture. And so I think each media has its own properties that are beneficial or challenging depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So lately I've been doing a lot of watercolor and colored pencil work, but I used to do a ton of acrylic painting. Actually, when I was in a gallery a while back, that was all they took from me, was all of my acrylic landscapes. So it's sort of just, it depends on what look I'm going for. Lately I have been really enjoying watercolors though. Like my latest gallery show was basically all mixed media watercolor and colored pencil. So yeah, I mean, I feel like in every media there's good and there's bad in it. So I just like to sort of try to pick what suits what would be easier, if that makes sense, for the look I'm going for. I know that's not a really great answer, but it's the truth. Let's see, why is my chat not moving? I'm seeing it over here. Okay, there we go. It just took a minute to catch up. Michelle, I just read up. You put on your glasses and suddenly everything is HD. That's great. You're funny, guys. Okay, I dropped my brush. So let's just make sure. Okay. You guys are funny. I love hanging out with you. That was a lantern, but I think I'm going to turn it into a building. And when I'm painting, I let it just sort of like take over. Like I don't, especially with coloring pages, I don't really worry about following the lines anymore, because it's like after you lose the lines after a certain point, you're like, okay, I'm going to just do my thing now. So, and I don't think that's bad necessarily. I mean, my work won't look like the coloring book maybe, but that's okay. I think it's cool. And I'm still, so the one trick I do though is I work from thin to thick. So I start out by glazing and thinning down the paint until it's watery and acrylic-y like I showed you. And then I build up the layers. So now I'm putting slightly thicker pigment on where there's less water involved. And then at the final layers, you'll see I'll start adding texture. I'll use no water, or I'll use like a media to make it thicker, and I'll use palette knives sometimes to get really thick paint on there. So that's a really great way though, because if you start out with really thick paint, it's really hard to adjust and adapt later. But if you start out thin, then you know you can paint over that, and nobody's going to know that you changed something or fixed a mistake or whatever. So yeah, I think that's a good tip. And a lot of artists paint that way, so I'm not the only one. But I just find it to be better for my style of work. Um, Yeah, Kate, I do. That's one of my favorite things about acrylic is like making it textural and thick paint. Here, I'll show you guys really quick. I think I'm coming up on an hour anyway. Um, so I use, where is it? Whoa, he's almost empty. I'm gonna have to get more of this stuff. I use this stuff the most out of any medium. It's flexible modeling paste. And you can see here it's in the painting stage, so it's not a prep or a finished product. It's super duper thick. It's matte, so it's not glossy. You can get a gloss one, but I just prefer the matte because if I want it glossy, I can put gloss varnish at the end. And it's opaque. So what that means is when you mix pigment into it, it's not transparent. There are transparent gels if you prefer that. For this, but I just love the opaqueness of that. Um, Paint can be more forgiving, although you do have to remember with pencils we have an eraser. So we can't, once you put this down and it dries, you cannot erase it. It's permanently on there. So you have to paint over it. And sometimes I will say there is a point where you can't layer anymore. If the canvas is so saturated with a pigment, like say you do a really dark area and then you want to try and get it to the light. So like the reason why I try to denote a lot of these lanterns in the sky is because it's hard to get back that brightness if you go too dark and then put white paint over it. I've just found this to be true with acrylic paint, especially if you want something to be super bright, like these are going to be, I'm going to paint even more white paint over these before I even put yellow on, just to bring them up in value. So it's not 100% forgiving, but yeah, I think it is a lot more forgiving. And it's, you know, every media has, like I said, every media has its benefits. So the thing I don't like about acrylics is that they dry so quickly. So with pencil, you can blend and blend and blend, and there's no time limit. But with acrylic, you have about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes at best, um, to blend, and then you're going to have to put a new layer of paint on. So, you know, every media is just totally different, but I like the challenge of figuring out how to use each one, and yeah. So, but like I made a mistake here where I went over her sleeve, so I'm just going to really quickly paint the white back in, because if I don't do that, then it's going to I'm going to struggle with it later. So there's some things like here too. right now it's not so dark that it won't be an issue, but if I kept doing that over and over again and not paying attention, then to try and get that outline recovered is a lot more difficult. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but yeah. Let's see. Well, anyway, I hope that this was fun. I didn't get super far because I was chatting, but I love chatting with you guys. So. I'll be working more on this, and I'll just do time-lapse videos when I'm not streaming. You got it, Michelle. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of share with you, like I totally started. I'm gonna try and get the piece to be pretty much finished in the background so that way we can just focus on the figures. I did do her dress because I wanted the ambient light from the sky to be the same color on her dress, so I did do her dress. I may end up doing a base coat of these guys just for time saving because acrylic paint does take just as long as pencil if you are painting. Thanks, Christina. Me too. I'm having some fun. I mean, I can't do them all the time, and I can't really tell you when I'm going to be able to do them, but yeah, whenever I can, I'm going to pop on. Alright guys, well, I hope you have a beautiful, colorful day, as always, and yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a like if you like it, or a thumbs down if you're just being a jerk. No, just kidding. You're welcome, Shannon. Take care, Daria. Thanks, Kate. Bye, Pat. Bye, guys.